Thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Glenn, for that upbeat music. Helps me relax before I come on. And thanks for the Facebook friendship. Saw you reached out and checked out your page, and so I'm really looking forward to all your great stuff. I would like to start off tonight with a reading, and this reading comes from Diedrich's Choose Again workbook that he gives away when you're at one of his seminars or retreat. And this is kind of touches on what my topic will be tonight. And here's the reading. What is love without motive? Can there be love without any incentive, without wanting something for oneself out of love? Can there be love in which there is no sense of being wounded when love is not returned? If I offer you my friendship and you turn away, am I not hurt? Is that feeling of being hurt the outcome of friendship, of generosity, of sympathy? Surely, as long as I feel hurt, as long as there is fear, as long as I help you hoping that you may help me, which is called service, there is no love. If you understand this, the answer is there. And this is a reading from Krishnamurti, and I hope I pronounced the name correctly. And so my topic tonight is called One Love, and it is inspired by an event that is going to be taking place on this Sunday evening in Studio City at a place called the E-Spot, which is a nightclub, jazz club that is owned by Sheila E. Escobedo and her father, Pete Escobedo. And this is being put on by Reverend Maria Felipe. She has gathered some ACIM teachers, such as David Hoffmeister, Craig Villarubio, and some top-notch musicians, where we're going to throw a little bit of mixture of course material and some inspiring music to go along with it. So it's a kind of a unique venue that is going to happen this Sunday night. Doors open at 7. There's still some tickets left for anyone in the LA area. Come on down and enjoy a nice, inspiring evening of course material, course music. So, getting back to the topic, I was when I was thinking about the One Love, I was driving back from Las Vegas, which was like a little bit more than a 4-hour drive, and so the event started crossing my mind, and so Holy Spirit started to move me in thinking the direction of the One Love. And typically in my whole entire life, and probably like a lot of others, the One Love is that one person we're going to marry, that's one soulmate, the one that's going to fulfill our dreams, and that would be the only love that we would ever need. We'd be happy ever after because this person is going to know me in and out, accept me for who I am in and out, and that'll be heaven on earth. But I started thinking about that one special relationship, love. If I think about it, it is the things that she is going to love and accept me for are ego concepts. She's going to accept me for the way I look, for how much money I have, or how I dress, or what I do for a living, or special talents, and all of that kind of stuff. And that's the way I identified myself to be. And I'm going to love her for the way she looks, and maybe possibly, how she cooks, or, what can she bring to the table as far as money and all that. So very conditional type of one love, which, when you really think about it in light of A Course in Miracles, or pretty much any kind of spiritual teaching, it really is not what my concept of love is. And there is, coincidentally, there is a one love concept in both of the personal ego love and the impersonal universal love, but they are completely opposite. They're just completely opposite in every way possible. And so I want to go into that thing. And what I started noticing in the Course community, that there are quite a number of single people, and not only that, the people that are in coupled up, marriage or whatever, there is some dissatisfaction that is occurring in that relationship. And I started thinking that might not necessarily be a bad thing. And I say that because I believe that when consciousness is shifting at a level of changing your whole orientation and identity, then your foundation of what all those opinions are, beliefs that you had, are going to change. But to have not to have a special relationship, quote unquote, to be coupled up, I mean, that one is a big one to give up, big one to just say, okay, I don't need it anymore, and then just go and walk off. I know there's still remnants of it in me, thinking that, there's going to be someone that's going to come along and I'll be able to pair up with them, and her rather, and live happily ever after in a romantic way. And I just realizing that I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening just the way it used to. I'm not so sure about some kind of romance there. I'm sure there certainly has to be, but that part of it is not going to be the factor where you're losing sleep when you're not with the person, and or you can think about, and if they say something to you that you get your feelings hurt and all that. I'm not sure that all of that is in the cards, but I think the unrest and the dissatisfaction of our course students that are hesitant to just jump in a special relationship right off the bat is not there as strong as it used to be, especially when you realize if you're interested, or someone's interested in you, that is still in that frame of mind where they're going to depend on you to be the happiness and significance in their life. And it's like, do you really want to lead them on to do that? For me, I wouldn't want someone jumping in a relationship with me and then her happiness depends on me, when I know that is not really love. It is it's something entirely different. So what I was thinking about doing was to make a definition or a history of what this special relationship is and how it came about in my perspective. I think there are different cultures and everything that handle it in different ways. I know they in some cultures they have more like a family type of relationships where it's just not one special relationship, but they have like communities where the kids belong to everyone, and the guys and the women, they have, you know, multiple partners and so on and so forth. But I'm talking about the relationship that I grew up with in Southern California in the United States, and I do have Mexican culture in me, so I would probably even say it's much stronger there in tradition than over here. Over here, it's moving away. That relationships are moving away and changing much faster. But I do believe that type of relationship where there is that one understanding instead of a person, the understanding of the one love that is universal would be even a more fulfilling, more happy, more joyful, more everything that I believe that a one person could contribute to my life. I really do believe that the one universal love is all of that and way more. So here's my thinking on the history of the special relationship. So when we are first born into this physical world, or when I'll try to bring everything in my perspective and instead of everybody else's, so it's just my understanding. When I was born into the physical, I believe that I was born into the sense of separation from my spiritual truth right off the bat. I believe that having a body and not being of spirit is inherently will lead to that sense of separation in my thinking. And this sense of separation that I was born into is a sense that I never felt like I belonged. I never felt that I was truly loved and accepted, and I did not feel oneness with anyone or anything. So truly it was a sense of separation, and it wasn't truly separation itself, because I believe that we were never separated from Christ, from the Christ consciousness, and from God. We're all one, but given this material consciousness, we chose to come into this separation from God, from the tiny mat idea. And so being in this physical form is a good way to demonstrate what we chose to demonstrate. I definitely feel that whole sense of separation. And so as I'm growing up, feeling alone, feeling out of this world, the reasoning, there had to be some kind of reason as to why this aloneness and this unlovability, if that's a word, was occurring in my life. Given I cannot remember thinking this as a child, but I can't see why I would not be thinking this as I've been feeling this way all my life, and it's only since I got on the course where the blockages are being removed little by little that I've been able to see some daylight as to wait a minute, this is necessarily not true. And when I think about this through my whole life, that feeling of not being loved and alone, I never really believed that it was true, and I especially didn't believe that it was right. I never believed that it was fair. I never really believed that there was a loving God that would do something like this to me and say, here is your life. You're going to feel alone and separate, and you're just going to spend the rest of your life killing that whole sense of separation from you. Do whatever you have to do to get rid of it. That's one thing I just really never believed. I never really said that I didn't believe it, but it was something that I really, deep down inside, was saying, man, this is not right. This is not right. So, and what I do is I take that feeling all the way back, and feeling that aloneness, I in my belief from the tools that I've acquired from the course was one major thing that occurred, which is projection, because the thoughts never leave their source. So the feelings of loneliness, of not belonging, never left my consciousness. What took place is looking for a reason. The projection started that very early on, that I look outside myself. And looking outside myself, just as I look outside myself nowadays, is looking for a reason why the unease, the pain, the aloneness has to be caused by something outside of me. And so whatever my mother did, whatever my father did, and it really does not even have to be like a significant trauma of not loving me or getting a spanking or not supporting me or something like that. It really doesn't even have to be that. It could be something simple as maybe I was in the backyard eating dirt or something, and my mom comes and takes it out of my mouth. But then I have this feeling of separation, a sense of separation in there, and so I project it out. And I say it again. It's just like what happens nowadays when I project something out. I have that sense of separation, and so I project it out into, like, let's say, a car cutting in front of me. That reveals that sense of separation that is in me. It's always in me, and it always has been. And the Course says that I'm never upset for the reason I think. And what I believe that is trying to say is that separation is the only reason. Separation from God, separation from love, separation from that sense of separation from your true identity is the only reason that you are upset. Everything else, I believe, is an ego projection throwing me off base so I can deal with all that stuff and projections outside of myself. So I never really get to the source of my unease, which is that separation, because the ego's not going to want me to get that get to that, because then that identity that I created dies, and at all costs, that is something that the ego believes is essential to survival. And all the way up until recently, like I was saying, that identity is the stuff that when it is threatened, that is what scared the heck out of me. And even unconsciously, by getting panicked and everything in certain situations, I realize now that had nothing to do with me. It was an ego that its cover was going to get blown, and I was going to go deeper than it wanted me to go, so it would just riot and put me in a panic, couldn't think straight, and be fearful and all that stuff. So that's where I feel that my feelings of unworthiness, of not belonging, or whatever, with the separation as I was born into, I threw it at my parents, projected out at my parents, of them not being loving towards me. So that means that I have a core belief that I'm not lovable, or I'm unworthy. For them, they didn't talk to me or communicate with me, and so then I'm not worthy of their attention, or no, I'm not worthy of anyone's attention. So my ego adopts this. I adopt it as my ego, these are the reasons why I feel the way I feel. I never really feel accepted, and so I spend the rest of my life looking for that acceptance through all kinds of relationships, not just special, but all kinds of relationships, of getting that acknowledgement of that I am worthy, that I am somebody. And it also that perceived core belief would affect grades you get in school, clothes that I would wear, music I would listen to, places I would go, people that I would hang out with. That whole dynamic of that belief, that perceived belief that I'm not lovable and not worthy, affected everything that I really did. Even in my relationships with my parents, I would want to be accepted by my father and my mother, in the worst way, But them by nature, they just weren't that way, and so I would take that nature that they weren't open, available for that love that I wanted from them. So that kind of person, and I'm not sure how this all like all the scientific and the chemistry and all that kind of stuff works out when I get attracted to a woman, that she just happens to be someone that is not very receptive, and so I try to live the past over again through her, to break through that unreceptivity of her, so then I can relive the past and be healed. And so it's not a coincidence that through my life, the type of relationships I would have would be sort of almost the same. I'm not saying all of them. There were some relationships that were really really good relationships, and those were the ones that kind of did not fall into that mold. But when I wasn't happy with myself, I'd fall into those relationships where I tried to earn the love, what I thought was love, that really wasn't there on her part. It might have been there on, well, it actually could have really been there, but it wasn't expressed the way I thought it should be expressed. And even looking back on some, even if it was expressed at first the way I wanted them, then it was my concept of what it should be would always change until it had to be expressed at a different level, a supposedly deeper level, or some other level that would always bring me back to that sense of aloneness and that sense of separation. And that makes sense, because that was the source of my unease, is that separation. So it doesn't even matter, which relationship I was with. At sooner or later, I'm going to fall back into the sense of separation. I've had some relationships that did have some longevity, and in the beginning, relationships are always good. They're always good because you believe that you're going to be completed. The sense of separation you believe is going to be taken care of, and because you found this in my case, this woman that had all the ingredients that would allow me to be healed and be accepted, and that's why I was attracted to her in the first place. And like I said before, I don't even understand being attracted to someone with that kind of personality, because I know it's not something consciously done. Like you can put 10 girls in front of me and all of them beautiful, whatever, but this one will have that certain quality of how she is, and that's the one I'm attracted to without even knowing them, without even knowing her. That chemistry or something that works in an unconscious level. Boom, I'm attracted to this person just out of nowhere, and they have that saying that's love at first sight, where you don't even know what the person's problems are, you don't even know anything about that person, and it turns out that that person is the one and has the characteristics that you believe is going to heal you. It's kind of crazy, and I don't even really recall reading anything like this that really goes into this very much as to what really happens to that in that love at first sight phenomena. All that what I would read would be, that I'm attracted to someone, just like my mom, or just like so and so, that I'm going to try to heal my past through this person. And so everyone, I believe, has their own moments of where they projected that very first projection onto, and most likely it's the parents, as interpreting that as being their cause of the loneliness and the unbelonging that they have, and I do believe that this is a universal a universal phenomena that we're born into as we born into the physical, is that we project that feeling, that sense of separation on caregiver or someone that's important that just happened to do something, or maybe even didn't do anything. They just might have even looked at me wrong, and because I had to get rid of this feeling and give it out and project it, so to give it a reason for existence, because there's got to be some reason why I feel this way, and boom, there it is. It just goes to the first person, and it's not. And I don't really believe that it doesn't have to be something traumatic. It just happens at an instant where we need to project it and have some kind of reason as to why we feel the way we do. And so that's what I believe. I believe that where my core belief that I've been trying to heal my whole life comes from is that projection, is that belief, which really isn't even true. And there's so many therapies that are out there that work on those kind of things, and like the inner child, the inner critic. And I'm not saying any of that is wrong or any of that is bad, because I believe that those are the very blocks that kept me from even having an open mind to look any deeper than that. And the inner child work was phenomenal for me. It was really, really phenomenal. It was an introduction of being able to move into an observer position in my life, instead of be just running on autopilot and not even having the ability to get a perspective of who I was and what I was doing. The inner child work would give me that perspective where I was able to objectively move out of my ego automatic pilot thinking and consciousness and see myself and what I'm doing from an objective point of view. And so even though the belief, as far as I'm concerned, and what I believe is just a belief in that projection, I still believe that any kind of work that goes into removing blocks, removing blocks was so important, and that's in my opinion. I believe that's why the Course in Miracles is so unique and such a powerful book for me, because that is exactly what it does. It goes for the blocks, and it goes into the blocks as beliefs, as thoughts, and I like the concept of no private thoughts. The ego is just fear, and whatever comes out of fear, you can just a whole slew of thoughts that I had for being ashamed, for be feeling less than, and so many of that, but they all have like a one source, which is the separation from God and the fear that comes with it, and the ego. So there really isn't any dark secret place where I could even have shame anymore, or have a private thought. I mean, I can say that there are places that aren't, and in front of people that it's not appropriate to talk about some of the things that I've done in my life that wouldn't serve any purpose at all. It doesn't make any sense for me to throw that kind of stuff around. But in a proper company, I don't have any problems being honest and sharing that, because all of that was my benefit. Going for those behaviors that would help me forget about that sense of separation were, I would take them to the limit, and I kind of had to take them to the limit in order to get where I'm at right now, to find out that there is nothing there at the end of that illusion that the ego chooses or wants me to pursue. And it's all outside of myself, whether it would be in money, relationships, sex, alcohol. Never really did a whole lot of drugs, but anything that I'm looking outside of myself for relief that I believe means something is a distraction that the ego throws out in front of me, so I don't deal with exactly what the cause is. So back to the course, was a miracle for me. Removing the blocks, and we started talking about this because of the inner child work that I was doing that helped me get past the blocks of where I was able to finally go through enough of the other kinds of therapy and everything to finally realize that that all of this is just a cover up. All of this other stuff is just a front for the real cause. And society right now is making billions and billions of dollars by, and I'm not saying they're doing this on purpose, by just dealing with these I don't want to say artificial, but the apparent or perceived causes of drug addiction and failed relationships and all of that, because they deal with it on a level that isn't right at the source. It is at the level where you're going to see some improvement in your life, and you're going to say, okay, well, yeah, this is because I have seen improvement in my life in this particular aspect. Then I guess there is some truth, and it does work, and I guess it's right, because I did feel different degrees of relief in doing all of that, but I was so lucky that I was studying the course, because I had somewhere that was like a platform where I can blast off from. I think society as a whole, and this is just my opinion, they get stuck in that diversion, and they just stop there. They don't have that tool, that perspective that the course offers, as far as the separation from God, from love. That's the cause. That is the root cause. And when I'm working on myself and I get thrown into some kind of turmoil or whatever, I might stay in the turmoil a little bit, but I always pull out of it and work on that core belief. So, let's see. So, okay. kind of lost my place. I have some notes, and I'm trying to find my place here. I just kept going and going. I went through a couple areas. Okay. Removing the blocks. Everybody bear with me. You know, I'm new at this. Okay. So, as a course student, what starts happening to me, and what is happening to me, because of my understanding now of what that says, the cause of separation is, I find myself not having that attraction to these kind of women. Actually, I'm not feeling any kind of that love at first sight attraction, or that energy falling in love kind of attraction, that craziness of where you get obsessed with a person, or you lose your mind, or can't sleep, or thinking about a person all the time and all that. You know, that attraction is moving into a point where it's just fading and fading more in my life. And what I see and what I'm thinking, that maybe, you know, all of us course students, the reason we're not or we are unhappy or not joining in this way or whatever, because the same thing is happening, is that we're recognizing the fact that we're awakening, and that kind of relief, that crazy relief that we're trying to that we tried before to find, it doesn't exist. That it's just us trying to relive the past, and we're understanding that more and more. And then the same thing also, what I brought up earlier, is that, I mean, I do not want to be, I don't want to say victim, but I don't want to be someone else's solution to their perceived loneliness, or their perceived core belief that I have some of those characteristics, and and they're attracted to me to heal themselves in that way. You know, I certainly don't want to be in that boat, because it's not really love. I mean, it'll probably look like love in every respect of the way, you know, but it wouldn't be, because this other person would be trying to gain my acceptance and my love for healing a relationship that they perceived that they needed approval from in the past. And I don't see any meaningful results coming out of something like that. I don't think that it is God's will to join like that. I don't think it's anything that's going to be joyful, happy, because there's nothing that I would ever be able to do that would cure or heal her that emptiness that she feels, that sense of separation that she feels. So I just don't see myself moving into a relationship with anyone that's choosing me, because I have those personality aspects of that person in the past, and I do think that is what's happening with our Course in Miracles community, is they're getting all of that the way I'm getting it. Maybe not the way I'm getting it, but I think the sense is coming from that, I think the awareness of being single is not really a bad thing anymore, because we're realizing that the oneness that we need, we already are. The love that we thought we needed wasn't really love. It's just healing a dream, healing an illusionary dream. That dream that I've had. I don't want to say all my life, but ever since I got attracted to girls, it's like, that one that's gonna completely make me whole and all that. It doesn't attract me. It does the opposite. It really feels really dangerous to me now, because I don't know. If I jumped into something like that and all head over heels or someone like that, would I be able to get out of it and be stuck in that game and all that? I don't even want to explore that, and I really don't even want to try that out. If I ever get that kind of feeling where I'm all gaga goo goo over some girl, then I know enough now to put the brakes on, because that is not love. Because love has got to be, for me, is clarity. Love is the wisdom. Love is intelligence. Love is knowing what you're doing and recognizing the highest good, the perfect purpose for everyone as one. Love to me is not excitement. Love is peace. Love is God, unconditional. It doesn't make that one person that has a personality traits that are gonna has to be the condition that I go after this certain person or attract to this certain person. That's a conditional thing, looking for conditional results, looking for a very specific results than the will of God, which is joining unconditionally with everyone. And in that realization of that universal oneness, and the more and more I am understanding it and realizing it and embodying it, that feeling of aloneness and unworthiness is like fading away. It's not so profound. I have such great relationships with so many women right now that are not in a romantic way, and then I think, if I got romantic with this person and we take it back to the traditional trade agreement, I do this and you do that and all that, I see that lasting like very shortly. I think I would screw up so many great relationships I have right now into moving and something like that. It just doesn't make any sense to me anymore. But the appetite for something like that would only work if I really am trying to bury myself in my aloneness. But I don't feel the aloneness anymore. I really am moving into that identity that I am the love that I want. I am the love that I am. It's more of a beingness instead of the looking for someone outside of myself. So I really do not believe that, like I said before, that being single is such a bad thing. I think being single or not being satisfied with a special relationship and trying to heal a non-existent core belief about yourself really is a step, an evolutionary step, I believe, stepping forward into a world that where we all are one, that we see each other all as one, that the specialness of the physicality of one person gets fades away, because the oneness, when I realize it in myself, is just so much more meaningful, and most of all, it is so much more unconditioned. My happiness isn't conditioned where someone has to be a certain way or do certain things, and they're not the cause of my happiness or joy or upset or anything, because I'm looking at their essence now. I'm more focused on their essence. I'm seeing them with Christ, seeing everybody with Christ's vision, not just the person, but everything. Music through Christ's vision is harmony, and if I can get past my identity of what I think I am, and whatever song comes on with whatever culture or whatever, if I get away from my identity, then I can accept harmony just for harmony, instead of it being this type of music from this kind of person, from this and that and all that jazz, and I think that analogy would go with the whole world, that everybody in every place and everything is in harmony and in order. And it's just the way that I am evolving to look at it now through the eyes of the Christ vision, the eyes of Christ consciousness. And as I was driving back from Vegas, it was going like further and further and further up. It was like a new world order that starts with the awareness that was the cause of all our problems, the wars, all of the dysfunction, if there's such a thing, of everyone. If we, or if, just throwing some light that what's causing our feelings of lack, limitation, and all that is just the separation, the sense of separation from God. Teach that in school when everyone is growing up, and put it in all the schools, and it's gotta make a hell of a difference in the world today. But it has to start with us. And as I look in the course community, there's more single people than not. And I think that's where it doesn't have to be single. I believe that there still can be relationships that are somewhat special. You have two people that realize that there are those kind of attachments, but they realize that they're working on not getting or lessening the attachments. They have a goal to call each other out when they can be helping each other to reach those levels of being secure within their identity as a child of God and as of love. But what I believe is that that first core experience has got to be redefined. And as it's being redefined in my life, I'm experiencing more and more the freedom from projection. And that's the thing that really, when it's as that freedom from projection and evolving into extending who I am, extending the love that I am, extending my sense of Christhood lives in everyone. My sense of Christhood is not mine uniquely, that Christ blessed me and no one else with it, and I believe it is within everybody and everything. And I also believe that everyone right now is doing the best they can with what they have. And me running into some great people when I was starting the course, and was the light for me, and shown it so I could believe that there is another way that's further than where I could take myself. And I see that from example of some great teachers that I've had the privilege of being around in my life, and I still very, very close, that shine that light for me. It's these teachers, and it doesn't even have to be a formal teacher per se, but just being who they are, letting their light shine, loving unconditionally, and just by example, or just by being themselves. I believe that's where the change is going to take place. It's little by little. We're going to experience the happy dream more and more in our lives, and until the entire sonship gets on board, and this is where I believe where the beginning of the course, it says the required course, and this is what I believe that the course is talking about, is to move from the illusions of separation into the realization that we were never separate. So in consciousness we go back to where we never left, where we never left, and I have always been. I see that in my mind, is that's how we're going to evolve as a race, as a people, and where it's going to end, who knows, because I'm just looking at, okay, we have this world, Earth. How many more worlds are there? How many more people, and how many people are taking, are gonna start evolving into conscious people, and on and on and on. I mean, that's just tons and tons and tons of questions. But still, just for the sake of living a happy life, content life, a true life, a loving life, and everything, just getting that proper perspective is a goal enough for me in itself. I don't need to start thinking about the whole sonship right now. If I can just get to that place of self-realization that I'm a perfect, loving son of the Almighty, then everything else I know will happen the way it's supposed to. So anyways, I'm out of time. I hope everybody enjoyed my talk, because I really did enjoy doing this. Thank you so much, Lynn, and I will turn the mic over to you.
Thank you so much, Tom. And yes, I was listening. No, we're not sleeping, Saud. There's a lot of people that listen, and also we have the radio, and you don't even know that. But anyway, here, let me stop.